This is the help video for Chapter 8, Guided Project 8-3. We're going to start this movie at step number 12. We're going to look at creating pivot tables and pivot charts. And remember, pivot tables are used to analyze data, usually multiple fields, and then we're going to look at some statistic between those two fields, two or more. And it could be a sum, an average, a count, and you want this statistic about the intersection of these two items. So what we're looking at is in dental insurance. So go to the dental insurance tab, and you can see we have 5 columns: patient ID, insurance, service code, maximum benefit, and billed. So there's a lot of opportunities here to use a pivot chart where we could look at some statistic by insurance or a particular service code, how much was billed, what's the benefit. I mean, there's a lot of things we could do with this particular. So on this particular scenario, we're going to select this entire table. So we're going to start here at A4 on the dental insurance worksheet and select all the way down to E35. So we're selecting all of this information. And then I want to use the recommended pivot tables to see what Excel thinks would be a good scenario for this data. So I'm going to come up here to Insert. And over here at tables, I'm going to expand my sheet a little bit so you can see. So in the table, we have pivot table where you'd begin it from scratch. You could make it into a table, or we could look at the recommended pivot tables, which is always a nice place to start, and then you can modify from there. So if I go into recommended pivot tables, it'll have a title of what it's actually comparing. So we want to find the one that's the sum of billed by service code. So we're looking at billed by this service code. And if you look at the example here, we have each unique service code and then a total of the billed column for that service code. So that I believe is the one we want. Let's just double check. Sum of billed by service code, right? So you can go down this list and find, if you were doing this on your own, find the one that's trying to analyze what it is you're looking for. If it's not there, then you have to build it from scratch. But luckily, we can begin with this one. So we're going to go ahead and do OK. It's going to create a new sheet, and your sheet may be a different number than mine because I was playing with things. And so here we have by each service the total billed for that service. If we look over here on the right, and if you don't have this, let me just close it up and then show you how to get it back. So if you don't have this, up here in the show, select field list, and that will put that back on. So you can close it, show it, okay? So right now we have 2 elements or 2 fields or pieces of information on our pivot table. One is service code, which is the row, and you can see each unique service code is a new row. And then billed is over here at the values. This is where, this box here is where you put to get the statistic in the middle, okay? So we want to bring billed down to the value box a second time because we really want 2 statistics on billed, one total and one average by this service code. So I'm going to click on billed and just drop it down. It's going to come up here, sum of billed 2, and we have it on the system twice. And that's okay. That's the way it's going to be, and then we have to kind of fix it, okay? So we are right here at step number 13. This sum of billed, we're going to work with that one. That was the original one. So I want to click on that one. And when I left click on it, this menu comes up. We want to come to the option that says value field settings. And this is where I can modify what statistic is being used, the name of the field, how it's formatted, that type of thing. So this is going to be called total build. So up there in the custom name, I'm going to call it total build. I want to keep it a sum, but I want to come down to the number format and make it, let's see, currency and no decimals, right? So we're very familiar with doing this formatting, right? So we picked currency, rolled it down to 0 decimals, and OK. And I believe we're done with this. Let's just double check. Number format, currency, OK. So now if you looked at this column B, which was the original one, it now says total build. We have our numbers as whole numbers that are currency, so that's cool. I want to click on the what currently says sum of build 2, the one we brought down that wasn't on there originally. Go back into value field settings, and this time the custom name is going to be average build. And since I'm looking at an average, down here in the summarization, I have to switch what kind of statistic is being generated and click on average, right? So, oh boy, I'm going to pick average. And what is this? Average build. Average, number format, currency, 0. So recommendation, switch the summarization type or the statistic type to average, then come up and do your custom name. Go ahead and do OK. Look down here, it says average build. Up here it's average build, whole numbers, currency format. So we're good. We're on to step number 14. So now we want to format we wanted to look at more like this to see the colors, and we're going to put some headings. So you just have to be anywhere in the pivot table. You don't have to be on any specific spot. And then we're going to come up here, not in the Pivot Tools Analyze, but to the right where it says Design. And I want to open up the gallery for pivot table styles by using the More button. And I want to find Teal Pivot Style Medium 6. Now this would be if you might have to use this alternate if you're not on 365. Like if we were at school and in the lab, we'd have to do Pivot Style Medium 6. But I am on 365, so I have Teal Pivot Style Medium 6. Once I click on that, there you go. I get the green kind of teal background. We get the teal lines. All right, so then what else we have to do? Select the banded row and banded columns. So that gives us our lines between it. Click the grand total. So that's over here in the layout. We're going to click the grand total, and it says off for rows and columns. So my total at the bottom goes away. And if you look at the how the answer looks and how ours looks, it looks pretty much the same except for these titles. Okay. So now we're going to come up here to A1 and type courtyard, medical, dental, services, enter billings by service code. We're going to select both A1 and A2 and make it 14 point. So now it looks very much like the answer sample there. Okay, so we're done with 14, 15, 16, we're on 18. All right, I am going to stop this movie and pick up the next one at step 18 where we're creating a pivot chart. Thank you.